Okay, we are in the 6th chapter, 5th Mishnah, and this time we really mean it. We really are on the 5th Mishnah. Except that it's a brisa, but it's okay. Al tevakesh gedula la'atzmecha. Don't seek greatness for yourself. You can seek greatness for others. You can seek greatness for Torah. But your goal, you should not be seeking greatness for yourself. V'al tachmod kavod. And you should not crave, you should not have a lust for honor. What I really am doing this for is so that people will think that I rock. But I'm really doing this so that people will come up and talk to me with respect. I want to be the boss. Right? Don't want it. So the first two attitudes, we'll get there in a second. Yalter mimaludacha ase. That let your learning be exceeded by your deeds. Right? Learn what you can learn, but then act on it. Go beyond what you've learned. Don't aspire for the table of kings. Right? All titaiva. Don't have a taiva, lusting the shulchanam shamolachim. Right? For transitory luxuries. Right? For big banquets. Because your table is greater than theirs. V'kitracha gadol mikitra, and your crown is greater than their crown. V'ne'eman hu ba'al malasecha, and Ne'eman, trustworthy is he, the master of your work. Sheyashalim l'cha schar pulasecha, who will pay you, yishalim, who will pay you completely the schar of your labors. And it says, don't crave honor. He says that you have to have pure motives, right, for your growth. That it's, we saw in the first chapter, it says, Hillel says, don't use Torah as a spade to dig, right? Don't use Torah, wrap yourself in the toga of Torah. Don't use it as a crown. That the reward of a mitzvah is the relationship that you have with your Creator. The reward of a mitzvah that's la'adam bein la'adam lechavera, between a person and a person, is the connection, the intimacy, the friendship that you develop by having done something nice for a person. Right? It's not, what you don't want to be is the guy who does something good, so that people will walk around and point at him and say, you know what, he's the guy who did that. Right? You want to meet an amazing guy? This is the guy who did this mitzvah. This is the guy who did the first redemption of a donkey in Los Angeles in a generation. Like, woohoo! He's the guy who built Hatzalah. He's the guy who, right? There's, you do big stuff. There's big payback. But that's not what you're doing it for, right? The confusion is you can use Torah in such a way that you turn Torah into just an object, or turn people into an object. Right? We talked once before, it says, there was a Rav who was very ill. He's in the hospital, and one of his students comes to him and says, Rebbe, I'm here to do the mitzvah Bikur Cholim. Right? And the Rebbe says, leave. Go home. Crushed. I need to do the mitzvah Bikur Cholim. How can you tell me to leave? Right? And the Rav says, I am not an object. Right? I'm not a chicken that you can use to do the mitzvah properly, shechting a chicken. Right? I'm not you go and pick up a crate of chicken so you can swing one over your head on Erev Yom Kippur. The chicken is just a tool to get the mitzvah done. I'm a human being. I'm not a tool to get a mitzvah done. Right? If you want to come and say, I'm here to make you feel better, that's the mitzvah Bikur Cholim. Right? But to come and say, I'm here to do the mitzvah with you as a vehicle, you as a vessel, it's a mistake, right? To use Torah and use it as a tool, right? I want to be respected. I want to be a leader. I want to be important. I want to be recognized. I want to be, whatever it is. you're not selfless. You're not serving for the sake of building a connection to God. You're serving for the sake of looking good, or being honored, or people knowing who you are, or you're going to be able to sell to them because they're I want to go to the shul. It's interesting to see people who switch over to the businessman shul. Guys who used to daven in our little shtibel and became wealthy and eventually moved over to the rich guy shul because you can do more business over there. It's like, it's not bad to do business with the guys you drink with, but that's not what shul's for, right? That's not what the connection to Hashem is. I want to just jump to the end of this. I think it's easier to see the whole Mishnah in light of the last line. It says, Neman hu ba'al malasecha, right? Malacha is the work that you do to change the world. Right? The 39 categories, we talked about this a little while ago on Shabbos, the 39 categories of work through which people change the world. But in a broader sense, your malacha is everything that you're doing to lift the world. Right? When we talk about holiness, it's not a guy who lives in a cave. It's a guy who's involved in this world to make it a better place. How do you build holiness? What are the 39 categories? None of them are sit in the Andes, right, and chant, right? They're farm and build and write and engrave and cook and dig, right? The physical labor of changing and perfecting the world, that's how you bring holiness in the world. That's malacha, right? Everything you're doing in the world, connecting to people, connecting to God, lifting yourself, the physical, using the world as a spiritual place. So it says, Ne'eman hu ba'al malasecha. Trustworthy is the master who has assigned you this work, right? Sheyashalem, he will pay you completely. Yashalem lecha schar pulasecha. The schar, the payment for your work. Now you remember we saw at the beginning of this class, back in the third Mishnah, very beginning of Avos, it says, Al tu kavadim hashanshim etzarav al minas lekabel pras. Do not be like servants who serve their master for the sake of a reward. Remember that one? Right? The very beginning, what do we say? We said, don't serve God. Don't be like people who serve their master, right? Almanas, on the condition, right? A couple pros that they get a prize, a bonus. Yet here he comes and says, do your malacha, do work, because you can trust that he'll pay you every penny of the schar he owes you. So doesn't that sound like those two things clash? So you have to understand the word. What's the word? What's pros and what's schar? Right? What's the bonus, the reward, and what's schar? So if you come to me and I say, listen, I'm going to put you to work. I'm going to pay you $8 an hour. Pay you $10 an hour because you do good work, and you work for 2 hours. How much do I owe you? $20. That's your schar. I promised you $10 an hour for 2 hours. That's $20. If I look at you and say you did a great job and I give you 25. The extra 5 is a pros. It's a bonus. You didn't earn it. You don't deserve it, but I'm giving it to you anyways. So the question is, what is the pros that you're not allowed to ask, to demand for, and what's the schar? So the schar is a relationship. God tells you, if you do a mitzvah, he will be close to you. Right? You are allowed to demand. You're allowed to say, listen, boss, I am going to do this mitzvah on one condition only. I'm going to try to draw myself close to you on the condition that you draw me close to you, that you're close to me, and you're allowed to demand it. You can demand of God that if I do mitzvot and try to purify my soul, that he will in fact purify your soul and draw your soul close to him. And every bit of good that you do, you will be rewarded for, and you can demand that fairly. So the problem was the students, right, when in the first parak, right, when he says, all to kavadim, right, when he says, don't be like servants who serve for the sake of a pros, right, in Tiganas Yisrael, his students were Tzadok and Bothus. And what they heard was, there is no Olam Haba. He says, all to kavadim Hashem Shemarav Almanas Lekabel pros. They didn't listen to the word pros. They didn't understand what he was saying. And they thought he was saying, there is no Olam Haba. There is no ultimate reward for your actions in this world. And so they gave up, and they became the Tzedukim and the Bothusians, right? The destroyers of everything. They said there is no afterlife. There is nothing else beyond this. And if you're only going to get what's in this world, you might as well grab pretty girls now, because there's nothing, there's no 70 virgins coming in the next world. Get what you can get here. And they destroyed everything. He says you can't serve for a pros, but you can serve for a schar. God says, you may demand, I will do good on the condition that you're close to me. What are you not allowed to say? What's the pros? You're not allowed to say, God, I will serve you on the condition that you make me rich. I will serve you on the condition that you make me healthy. Right? I'm going to be a servant of God as long as you never give me cancer. You give me cancer and I'm out of here. Right? You make life hard on me and I'm out of here. Right? That's a bonus. You're not allowed to insist on it. Right? Take the same thing into a marriage. You are allowed to say to your wife, I will do nice things and take out the trash and come home from work on time and be respectful and kind and invest my life in a relationship with you on the condition that you love me. I'm willing to sit here and fight the good fight on the condition that you have a relationship with me. You're allowed to insist on a relationship. You're not allowed to insist, I will be here and do nice things on condition that you cook for me, or that you sleep with me, or that you buy me a car, or you give me a big house, or that you earn a big salary. Right? That you can't do that in a relationship. You can't say I'm connected to you, because if I say I'm connected to you as long as you're bringing home a big salary, then I'm not interested in you. It's purely a financial relationship. I'm in this for the car, right? I'm in this for the perks. I'm in this for the food. I'm in this for the sex. I'm in this for the money. I'm not in this for a connection. But even with a friend, I'm allowed to look at you. If you're my friend, I'm allowed to say I'm going to invest my soul in our friendship on the connection that you connect your soul to me. Right? That you be my friend. It's not on condition that you get me Laker tickets. Right? It's not on condition that you help find me clients. It's not on condition that you give me money. I will be your friend on the condition that you be my friend. Right? God says in our Mishnah, it says, Ne'emanhu ba'amal asecha. You can trust God to give you, she'yashal lecha schar pu'asecha. He will pay you in full. But He won't pay you with health. And He won't pay you with money. And He won't pay you with unsalty bread and lots of water and a nice bed to sleep in. You may not get any of those things. Right? You may wake up and say, you know what? I'm middle-aged and I got cancer and business is tight and this, right? It's like it's smoggy and I got a Democrat running the country. Whatever it is, right? It may not always go the way you want it to go. But that's not what He promised you. He didn't promise you that life would be a breeze. But He did promise you that everything you do is meaningful. Every action and choice you take will purify your soul and bring you closer to Him. And He will pay you every bit of closeness and intimacy that you earn. So now you can see the rest of our Mishnah. So that's why he comes back and says, what are you in this for? Right? Al tivakesh gedula atzmecha. Are you in this so that you'll be big and important? God says, do a mitzvah so that you can be connected to me. He doesn't say do a mitzvah so people will look at you and say, look at that guy. That's the guy who gets his name on the building. Right? It's got to be the Witkin building. Right? You know what? Give the money for the building. What do you need your name there for? Right? You're allowed to put your name if you think it's going to encourage other people to pay for the other buildings. But mostly we'll put their names. Right? Go read the story of Elazar ben Dordaya, or ask Roy Adlerstein to tell you the Maharal's commentary on Elazar ben Dordaya. And the guy who's totally corrupt and he's trying to and he runs to the stars and he runs to the mountains and the Maharal says, what's run to the mountains? He's putting his name on buildings. He says, you know what? I need immortality. Maybe if I give money and put my name on a building, I'll be immortal. Maybe if I invent some scientific principle, I'll be immortal. Maybe, right? He's trying to find some way. He realizes his life is wasted and useless and he wants immortality. In the end, all he can do is sit and cry and do tshuva and be done. But the idea is that if you recognize the reason you're doing this is to be connected to God, it's not about getting greatness for yourself. And I don't crave honor. Greatness is I want to generally be important. Honor is I want to make sure that the individual people I deal with kowtow to me. Right? I want to be the most important guy in the room. It's not enough for me to have my name on a building. It needs to be that when I walk in a room, every one of you is pretty much ready to bow to me because I'm the guy. Right? I want to be the guy. I walk in, it goes silent. I walk in, you say, Mr. Witkin. Right? It's craziness. But people that's like half our civilization. That's what it's based on. Whatever we can do to make sure that I'm the most important guy in the room. I've got the big title and the big job and the fancy car and the fancy logos on my clothes and my stuff. And I got a $7,000 guy walk in wearing a $27,000 Rolex in the day. First of all, I break every watch or lose every watch I've ever gotten. Right? You would never, don't give me a $27,000 Rolex, I will lose it. I have one watch now that's the longest I've ever had a watch, but the reason I've had it the longest is because it fell off the shelf and fell into our old stroller, and I didn't know that. I couldn't find it for like 2 years, and we loaned the stroller to a friend, and they said, look, we found a watch in it. It's like the thing lasted 2 extra years because I managed to lose it for 2 years first. Right? But how much better time do you get out of the $27,000 Rolex? And how much of it is, and how do I know it's a $27,000 Rolex? Because you told me it's a $27,000 Rolex, right? Maybe it is, right? Because you need to be the most important guy in the room, and the proof that you are is that you spend as much on a watch as most people spend on their European vacation for the summer that they can't afford because they're paying for day school tuition, right? But because I want to be covered, that's not our life, right? Yoter mimuladucha ase. Greater than your learning is what you do, right? This isn't about how much you sit and hear ideas. It's about how much you get off your butt and take those ideas and actually do something with them. If someone teaches you the concept of give tzedakah, then give tzedakah. If they teach you about being kind, do something kind for somebody. Our whole concept of learning is learn in order to do something about it, right? Go do something, right? Go do something. I don't care how many pages you've looked at. Go outside and do something for somebody with it, right? It's not about putting it in your head. V'al titaiva, and don't have a lust for luxury. It's a mistake, because you sit there and you say, man, I want a table that's piled. Do you ever hear, silly, you'll hear an ad for, an all-you-can-eat dinner at a restaurant someplace, whatever, and you're thinking, man, I wish I could go to Shakey's Bacon Delight, all-you-can-eat pizza fest, right? Thinking, you know what? Every single night, my wife puts on as much as I can eat. I could stuff as much food in my mouth as I want. It's not, right? But why am I lusting for that banquet? It's food, right? Yeah, go to them. It's food, right? You're going to eat it. You're going to digest it. You're going to be done with it. But unless you're, a Roman in a vomitorium, right? There's only so much food you can. It's like, you try to remind your kids. It's only with good whiskey. You're right. It's only good while it's on your tongue. Once you've swallowed it, it's completely wasted. Right? I mean, the pleasure of drinking a good scotch is while you're drinking it and breathing it, not once you've swallowed it, unless you're a guy who likes being drunk. Right? The pleasure of a good steak is while you're eating it, not while you're digesting it. But people's whole lives are focused on, shove as much stuff in. Who cares what luxuries they have? What you have is meaning. Right? What you have is truth and growth, and right? The part that you're building is a neshama. That once they're dead in the ground and getting eaten by worms, you're standing before Malach Malachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're standing for the King of Kings. Right? What you've got, your crown is greater than their crown. There's nothing that they have, but it's hard, because that's what we have a lust for. Ask a 14-year-old kid, right? What are you lusting for? Are you lusting for, I want to be the most meaningful guy in the room? Or I want to be the richest guy in the room? I want to be the best athlete, the most popular, the most important, right? I mean, that's what we strive for. When we say, what is success? I want to be the most successful. If I just say it, if I say, he's the most successful guy I know, you instantly think of professional success, economic success. You don't think he's the guy who's learned the most mussar and has the greatest control over how he behaves. Right? He's the guy who's got the most influence on turning people around him into nice guys. Right? You're going to get paid. You're not necessarily going to get paid in this world with wealth or health or ease. You may find yourself lying on the ground and eating salty bread and drinking just a little bit of water. But in the end, if what you're trying to build is a neshama, he says you can trust that everything you build, you'll be paid for. All of it. So that's our